Hey, welcome to the call. It's call number 4. This is the Netfield Master. Steve Bentley, and we've got Rachel and Wendy on the call. And I saw Lily was there earlier, and I know a lot of people in this series, for whatever reason, are catching the replay, which is awesome. So if you are catching the replay, welcome to the recording. And if you have any questions that we don't address during the call or in the question and answer afterwards, message me, and we'll do a one-on-one call and address any concerns you might have. So anyways, welcome to the call, Rachel. I see Lilia jumped in, and now she's gone again. Oh, her video is gone at least. So today we're going to be talking about monitoring and measuring, and we're also going to talk about lifestyle options. And then my favorite thing, and I know Wendy's on this road as well, the whole marketing aspect of sharing Isagenix, because we bless so many people by sharing what we do, right? And it's not about making money. That just happens when we help more people. So that's why I get excited about working with Isagenix, because you can't make money unless you're helping people. And if you're not making money, you're not helping people. It's a pretty awesome connection. Okay, so any questions, first of all, you guys, before we get started, because it's just a few of you, so I'm happy to answer any questions from the previous classes. Or are y'all good?
Pretty good.
Good so far. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so here's, first and foremost, we're going to be on page 18 of the MasterClass notes. These are awesome. I love these. Keeps me on track, so I'm not talking for like 3 hours, preventing you from having a life. So,
Steve, do we have MasterClass notes?
We do, actually. So they're in the file section of the NetFuel MasterClass. If you want to go find that right now, I can pause.
You can continue.
I can continue. Okay, you find them later. So just going to the file section of the NetFuel Masterclass, and it's, I think it's the only file in there, and it's the notes.
Okay.
It's a 19-page document on all the notes for NetFuel. It's awesome. I think it's awesome anyways. Okay, so first and foremost, if you guys have followed me through ProEdge and NetFuel, you know I am kind of hardcore when people start complaining about stuff. Because for me, a complaint is like an objection when I'm sharing Isagenix, and it's really an opportunity for me to educate people. Because, hey Sunny. So for me, that's okay. So for me, what I'm really looking for is to try and help people get the information that they need. So when I hear a complaint or I hear an objection, to me, that's just a cry out for all the people who are trying to say, hey, can you help me understand how this works? So for me, when I hear people complaining about their weight, they're not losing enough weight, they're not, they don't think this is working. Typically what's happening is they don't understand the process and what's actually happening. So some people get all excited. So Wendy, you mentioned you've lost a bunch of weight in the first couple of weeks. A lot of that is really water. Your body's releasing stuff, flushing it out. That's why we want to get good hydration in. We want to get good electrolytes into your system. Because if you don't, you're going to get dehydrated and you're going to get out of balance. You're not going to feel very good. So it's really important to really make sure that you get good hydration into your system, because your body's dumping a lot of water. Because here's the deal. When you have carbohydrates come into your system, your body stores that as glycogen. That has mass to it. Think about it. We talked about it the other day. Glycogen has mass to it. It's like gasoline that's going into your fuel tank on your car. It weighs something. So your car might weigh 2,000 pounds. You put 300 pounds of gas in it. You run your gas tank until it's empty. Your car used to weigh 2,300 pounds. Now it weighs 2,000. You fill it back up with gas. Now it weighs 2,300 pounds. Gas has mass. Glycogen has mass. So when we're doing a NetFuel program, we're not eating as many carbohydrates. Our muscles aren't going to be as full with glycogen. Y'all ever done a cleanse program or taught people through a cleanse program and they lose a couple pounds and a couple days later they gain that weight back and they're all ticked off, right? It's because their muscles are regenerating that glycogen as they start eating again. Now with NetFuel, it's not as bad, and a lot of people get excited because they do the cleansing days that are coming up next Monday and Tuesday. Is it next Monday? No, the following Monday and Tuesday, because this is just the second week that we started this Monday. So next week's the second week, and the following Monday and Tuesday is the start of the cleansing program for the new people who are coming into the group. They're going to go through the program. They're going to be excited because they're not going to gain as much weight back because they didn't start the cleanse with full gas tanks, right? Their muscles and their liver wasn't as full with glycogen as it normally is because they're eating so many low carbs. Okay, does that make sense? So this is really relevant because when people start jumping on the scale, they start seeing things that are kind of ticking them off. And I'm going to go through things. So on page 18, if you've got the MasterClass notes, so Nancy, I see you're driving, so don't look at these. Wendy just found out about them, so she doesn't have them. So if you've got the notes you're reading through on page 18, I'm just going to go through them.
I have them now. I'm good.
You have them now? Okay, good. So we're on page 18. So here's what's changing in your body when you jump on the scale. And again, this is for you, and this is for you to coach people through it. So I'm always trying to give people the information for them personally, but I'm also kind of leaning more typically towards the coaching aspect of it. So I like to explain what things are happening when people are going through the program. So when you jump on a scale, whether it's a bathroom scale that's just measuring weight, or whether it's a scale that's measuring body fat, and I put it in air quotations because it's not actually measuring body fat, but I'll talk about that in a minute. When you jump on a scale, there's a bunch of different things that are contributing to the number that you see. And a lot of people think everything else is static and it's just the weight of fat that's changing. So they get all pissed off when the number goes up or doesn't go anywhere, Nancy, right? Or it might go down, right? And they measure their success on the program based on the number of that scale. And I want to give you some ideas as to what's actually coming up on that scale, because fat is one of the things that's changing. There's a bunch of other things that are changing every single day for people, and they'd like to think it's just fat. It is not just fat. So here's some of the other things that are going up. Number one is muscle. Isagenix has got an extremely bioavailable protein source. So when people start getting Isagenix in, especially for the first time, right, or they're really focusing on it, because it's easy to do a shake a day sort of, right? But when you're doing net fuel, or if you're like me and you're doing a normal Isagenix lifestyle, it's 2 shakes a day, sometimes 3 every single day. Like, I just love this protein, because if I was going to try and recreate a shake, it would cost me between $15 and $20 to do that. It'd be a whole lot more complicated, bring in a whole lot more contaminants into my system and not have any other nutritional benefits, really, because there's not much in food today. I want to have a few shakes coming into my body, at least 2. Sometimes 3, depending on how hard I'm working out and training. So if you remember that Skidmore study from University of Skidmore, if you're going to gain 9% lean muscle mass over 6 months, just having 2 shakes a day following the 30-day program. That's pretty incredible. 9% over 6 months. That's amazing. So you're gaining weight when you use the Isagenix program. This is important because people don't care how much you weigh when they're walking behind you down the street, right? They don't know and they don't care. You might care, but nobody else cares. So when you're gaining lean muscle mass, you're actually improving your metabolism, which is making you a better fat burning machine. If you're just losing weight and it's at the expense of muscle, that's not good. It really isn't. When I first heard about Isagenix over 12 and a half years ago, the person that was talking to me about it told me it was a weight loss program. And I was like, just stop talking. I'm not interested in a weight loss program. I'm 6.5% body fat. I don't need to lose weight. And I am not going to help my clients lose weight if it's at the expense of muscle. I'm not interested, right? And then I talked to my friend Camille, who's a sex therapist, but that's not how I know her. She was a member of the ski club I was at. And that's when I got started on Isagenix, because she talked about getting rid of toxins, accessing fat for fuel as an energy source, right? Getting better nutrition into your body. And all those things caught my attention. But you want to gain lean muscle, and that is going to add weight on the scale. So for a lot of people, they might be burning through fat, but their scale's staying static or even because they're gaining muscle as they're losing fat. The other thing is obviously fat. So we're losing fat as you're going through this program. So that's going to go down, right? And then we've got extracellular water. That's the inflammation. That's that body inflammation that your body holds on to, that water outside your cells to douse that inflammatory fire that's going on in most people. And that's going to have weight to it, right? We don't want that. So that might go down as we start to flush that out, as we bring ourselves back into balance and get healthier and don't have the things going on in our system that needs to hold on to excess fat and inflammatory water. But for a while, that might be hanging on, right? Remember that Nurse Cindy video that she put out on YouTube? So Google Nurse Cindy, water balloons, fat loss. Great video explaining how your fat cells pull in water to maintain the integrity of the structure of that cell. And it won't release that water until it feels comfortable that, hey, you don't really need that fat cell anymore, right? And that might take some time. Remember this story when I first came into Isagenix of a lady who got going on a 30-day program, didn't lose any weight the first month. She felt like she was leaning out a little bit, but scale stayed the same. Second month, exactly the same. She loved how she felt though. Better energy, better sleep, better mental focus. So she wasn't too concerned that she wasn't losing weight. She just felt better. So she kept going on it. Third month, exactly the same thing. Fourth month, she lost 25 pounds because her body was ready to go and just released all that inflammatory water it was holding into her system. So the other thing that's going on in your system is you've got intracellular water. That's the water that's basically called hydration. You want that in your cells so that they actually function properly. Most people are a few percent dehydrated. That's not good, especially from a performance aspect. If somebody's 3% dehydrated, they're going to be between 8 and 10% slower and weaker. And that just basically correlates into not feeling as good. So if you're an athlete, you don't want to be 8 to 10% weaker and slower. You want to be as fast and as strong as you can be. But if you're a normal person that's not necessarily athletic, you want to feel good. So hydration is so important. So important to drink water. That's why we talk about water on the last call and electrolytes to shuttle that water into your cells, right? So important. Then we've got a few things that are going on in your body as you're starting to bring water and food into your system. You've got urine that you're generating and you've got fecal matter, right? You don't know when you're hopping on the scale how much poo you've got in your intestines, right? Some days it's going to be higher, some days it's going to be lower. It changes. I know this is shocking, but it's never exactly the same, right? Some days you have really awesome bowel movements and you're peeing like a racehorse, and other days not so much, right? That is going to affect the number on the scale massively for some people. And the bigger you are, the more of a difference that's going to make, right? Then we've also got glycogen in your muscles that we talked about, and bone density. That's another one. As you get fitter and you get stronger and your muscles start pulling on your bones more, that bone is going to get denser. It's going to get heavier. Now, that's not going to account for a lot, but it can be up to a pound or a pound and a quarter for a person. And your muscles will only get as strong as the bones can support them. So if you're trying to do weightlifting and you're not getting good nutrients into your system to develop good, strong bones, you can only develop your muscles so much. Think about it. Your body is so smart. It's way smarter than you. It is not going to let you get stronger than your skeletal form can maintain, right? It'll suppress your ability to build muscle if you don't also address the nutritional requirements for building muscle or bone, right? So calcium, magnesium, potassium, even salts, they all go into making your bone. So you want to make sure that's on track. So those are all the things that are going into the scale, right? You've got fat, you got muscle, you got extracellular water, that inflammation, you got hydration in your cells, you got pee, you got poo, you've got bone density, and you got glycogen. Think about this too. If you hop in a bath, this isn't even on this sheet here, but if you hop in a bath or have a long shower, your skin is going to absorb water. And that can be a couple of pounds that you throw into your system. And then you hop on the scale and you're pissed off because the scale is not going down as much as you'd like it to. It has nothing to do with anything, right? Like, don't be a scale hawk. It's going to throw you off. And then some people say, well, I've got a body fat scale on my scale, right? And my body fat's not going down. BS. The only thing that body fat scale is measuring is the amount of current that's able to go through your system. That scale is sending a low voltage current through your body, up one leg and into the other. And it's measuring the resistance of that current. And it's plugging it in, because if you've got a scale like that, you're having to put two things in. You're putting your height and you're putting your age. And some scales actually ask you if you're an athlete, because it has to figure out what equation to plug that resistance of that current that's going through your body, what equation to plug it into. And it's coming up with what it thinks is your body fat. It is not measuring your body fat. I guarantee you. And do this. Do exactly the same weight, but get dehydrated, right? So eat a bunch of stuff to bring your weight up. So let's say you're 140 pounds and you're losing some weight, right? Because you're doing the program and it's working, and you eat a lot of stuff and you get, maybe you're 138 pounds, but you eat 2 pounds of stuff and you don't pee, you're back up to 140, but you're dehydrated because you didn't drink enough water. Your body fat will be completely different. because it's measuring the resistance based on your hydration level. So if you're going to use a body fat scale like that, your hydration level, your percent hydration has to be exactly the same every single time. Otherwise, it's really not giving you an accurate reading. And even as you go through things, because the muscle and the fat is affecting the current, as your muscle grows, that's also going to affect your current. And that's going to affect the reading that it gives you, and that's going to change the number that it's saying that you're at a body fat percentage. Does that make sense? Right? So as you're explaining things to people and they start talking about, well, my body fat's not going down or my body fat's going down, I always like to temper people's expectation about what things are happening as much as what's not happening, right? So when they lose 6 pounds in the first weeks, I go, great, that's awesome. It's not all fat. Like don't get all excited, because what happens is you might want to say nothing and then they're all excited that they lost 6 pounds the first week. And then the next week it's flat. And if you didn't say it wasn't all fat the first week, you can't say the second week all these other things that are going on, because they're like, well, why didn't you tell me that last week, right? Just tell people right up front, when they first get started, that weight that's coming off is usually water. It's usually inflammatory water, right? We want to hydrate with good electrolytes and water intake and get healthy and build muscle. And then over time, as you get your body into a ketonic state where you're especially between 1.5 and 3 on the ketone levels, we'll talk about that in a minute, that you're in this great fat burning state. Now your body's built up and it's kind of in this proper zone for great fat burning, right? So initial weight loss is just your body getting into balance. We want to get you into a great fat burning state. And Jody's on the call. She's done amazing with this. She got started, lost some weight, settled in, and then just kept going with the program and just leaned out, dun, 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 over and over and over again. And then just gradually increased her athletic performance as well, because she's getting so fat adapted on the whole program. So that'll happen with people. You just got to get that going through it. So as you can see down here on page 18 too, about the middle of the page, we're talking about the tape measure is probably a better way to go if you're going to measure what's actually happening in your system. But as we also talked about with that Nurse Cindy video, your fat cells are going to be filling with some water. So the tape measure is not even that great. So what I actually like people to think about is, what are your ketone numbers, right? Are you in ketosis? Great. Let your body, that natural ability of your body to be in ketosis, start to get you fat adapted. Follow the program. Great things are going to happen. For the vast majority of people, that's going to be the case. And that's awesome. So just stop overthinking it. Just stick on track. You know, so many people want instant results all the time, and this takes time. It took some cases decades to pack that fat on. It's going to take a little while for it to start coming off properly in a healthy way, right? So the tape measure is good, but just how you feel is even better. Ketone numbers, how you're sleeping at night, your energy, mental focus, how you're going through the day, digestive health. So many people experience better skin and nail health, right? And hair. Like, look at all those other benefits that you're getting and start to see, okay, all these other things are going on. Yes, I'm impatient with the whole fat loss thing and the inches, but that'll come. And sometimes it's going to take a couple of months. And when you're coaching people, caution them that some people are going to be experiencing great results really quickly, and it's going to frustrate the heck out of you. Don't let that get in your head, right? Like, do your thing, stay on track. It's like you can't wait. You can't expect that somebody else is going to be in the same position as you, because they came into this whole program in a completely different state, right? Maybe they were a real mess beforehand, and they make a few changes and massive benefits are going to happen to them, but they're so far behind you in other areas. You want to be where you're at. And maybe some other people are farther ahead because they took a lot better care of themselves. Maybe they weren't on as many medications or doing as many bad things as somebody else was, and they're going to be farther ahead. So it's just like, everybody's an individual. Just get them focusing, like we talked about last week, that mental sort of preparation. Why is this important to you, right? That's what's going to pull people through this program properly. And I always like to think about more in terms of inspiration rather than motivation. I want people to be inspired internally to pull them along to what they want to achieve, rather than me or you being responsible for motivating them all the time to stay on track. Like, they're going to benefit. Like when I'm bringing somebody into isogenics, yes, I'm going to benefit financially a little bit. They're always going to benefit more than I'm ever going to benefit from them doing the program, right? And when they start sharing isogenics, yes, I'm going to benefit a little bit, but they're always going to benefit more from the work they do than I'm going to benefit from what they do, right? But I've got thousands of people on my team, so I get a little bit of benefits all the time, and I make more money than them, as I should, because I've been doing this for a long time, and I've brought in a lot of people, but they're individually going to benefit more from the work they do than I'm ever going to benefit from what they do, right? So I always want to explain that to people. Why are you doing this? Get them refocused, because it's easy to forget. I forget sometimes about why I'm doing certain things. And it's nice to hear what you want to be doing. Okay, measuring ketones. There's 3 different ways of measuring ketones, right? So if you want to get the specifics of measuring ketones, let's go kind of from worst to best. And the worst one is probably the P strips, but it's great for people who are initially getting started because they're going to be able to see those ketones coming into their system right away, right? The P strips, just measuring urine, and they're measuring acetoacetate that's being excreted from your body. So right there, it's not actually measuring what's in your system, it's measuring what you're getting rid of. So initially, when you start using those P strips, you're going to be identifying what you're actually excreting from your system, not what's in it. So if you get better at utilizing the ketones that your body's generating, you're going to excrete less. So a lot of people get started on the P strips. I can't find my thing because I don't use it anymore. There's a little tube of like little urine strips. And what happens is people might be generating a certain amount of ketones initially because they're not used to using them. Then they get better at using them, and the body's not getting rid of a lot of ketones. So the numbers go from a pretty good number down to like trace or not even anything. And they're like, now I think I'm not even in ketosis anymore, right? That's why the P strips aren't very accurate, because it's only showing you what you're getting rid of. And if you're using a lot of the ketones that you're generating, you're not going to excrete anything or very much, and your numbers are going to go down dramatically. So people might look at the P strip reading and go, okay, I'm not in ketosis anymore. What am I doing wrong? They might not be doing anything wrong, right? Everything could be going perfectly. They're just not excreting anything. So P strips are very inexpensive, but they're really not the best way to measure your ketones, okay? The next one is the breath monitor, and it's measuring acetone, right? And the acetone, I've got a glass of Kendall Jackson Chardonnay here. It's quite lovely. And when I drink that, it's going to get processed in my liver, and what's going to come out is acetone, and that's going to be a really great fuel. Think about jet fuel on a plane. Your body's going to burn that first because it's very volatile, right? It's going to go burn that first, and then it's going to go after the glycogen that might be in your system, because we're on a keto program. You're not going to see much there. Then it's going to go after the fat. So if you're trying to lose fat, don't drink alcohol, right? If you are going to drink alcohol and you're trying to lose fat, then you want to be going for things like rum or gin or vodka or tequila. We talked about that before, but just keep things pure. Don't add things to it. Wine is okay, but there's about 3 or 4 grams of carbs here. I can get away with it because I've been doing this for a while, and I'm in a pretty good state of ketosis, and I really like wine, and I'm not trying to lose weight. So I'm going to take that, right? But if you're trying to lean out, you don't want to be drinking alcohol at night, ideally. And if you do, just make it a special occasion. So going back to the breath monitor, it's measuring acetone, and you're going to be generating that from alcohol. So you could be drinking alcohol, and it's going to mess up your readings of a breath monitor. If you're going to get a breath monitor, unfortunately, you're going to have to spend a couple $100s to get a really good one, because the crappy ones that are really inexpensive aren't very accurate. You can get them for $30 or $40, but they don't work very well. You want to be getting the like Ketonics, like breath monitor stick. That one's a pretty good one. How much did you pay for yours, Jody?
I paid $49.99 Canadian.
Is it working really well?
It's quite abroad. So today I actually tested, because I haven't tested in a while, and I was 1.8 with the blood monitor. This is coming off a 2-day cleanse, so just to say that you can still get high.
2 days.
Yeah. And then my breath was 1.5. So pretty close, but sometimes it's like my breath might be 0.5 and my ketone blood will be like 1.2. So it does have a variance.
Yeah. Okay. And the final measurement option there is the blood ketone monitor. So I use the Keto Mojo. And for me, the reason I did this is there's twofold. Number one, I'm in the US, so it's very easy for me to get this. And then number two, it also has glucose strips that measure glucose, hematocrit, and hemoglobin. So as a performance coach, those are really cool parameters for me to know about. So I'm going to get something like this. But if you're in Canada, what did you use, Jody? There's, I think, one of the Shoppers Drug Marts, they have a special on where you get the free monitor if you buy the strips, right?
I haven't found that, but I ordered mine on bestketonetest.com. And
Okay.
it came to me via the States, but it charged me in Canadian dollars. But when I got my bill, it was actually US, but it was what they said, like the conversion. So that was pretty cool.
Did you get the Keto Mojo?
Yep.
Okay, good. That's a great monitor. I like it. Okay, so that's the Keto Mojo, and it's measuring beta hydroxybutyrate, or BHB, and that's the same type of things that they typically have in instant ketones or ketone salts. Is BHB, beta hydroxybutyrate. So it's measuring the actual amount of ketones that are in your system, not what you're breathing out or what you're peeing out of your system. So if you want a really accurate monitoring system, go with the blood monitoring program. I was a little freaked out at first. I don't like going to the dentist. I don't like needles particularly. I know you think I'm really tough, but I'm really not. I'm a bit of a suck. So this is really simple. You're just using this tiny little pinprick. It's just like, it's like, that's it. It's not even there. And then you just sort of squeeze your finger like that, and you just sort of milk the blood drop out, and you just touch a little strip, and it just sucks it in, a little capillary action, and it just measures it in about 5 seconds, and it tells you your number. It's like so simple. So if you're kind of freaked out about a blood ketone monitor, don't be, just get it. It's super accurate. And here's when you need it. You don't really need it as you're going through the NetFuel program. You really don't, because you're going to know that you're probably in ketosis based on the results that you're getting, how you feel, how you're sleeping, your energy, how long you can take between like having a meal, right? You're going to know that you're in ketosis just based on all those parameters. Where it comes in handy is when we get into the next page here. So page 19, which is the whole lifestyle options. And this is where it's really important to know, what can I get away with? Because lifestyle to me is going back to some of the things that I really enjoy, because I'm going to do this much longer term if I'm enjoying it. Like if this is super restrictive, like the first 2 weeks of the program where you got to stay under 20 grams of carbs, screw that. I'm not interested in living that way. There's so many things that I like that have carbs in them, right? And I'm not going to use up 20% of my carbs by having let's just be reality, half a bottle of wine, right, at night with my wife, who's having the other half a bottle, by sticking under 20 grams. It's not going to happen, right? So I want to know what I can get away with. And so a blood ketone monitor is going to be really important for making sure that I know what amount of exercise I need to do during the day, what kind of complex carbohydrates I'm having, and what I'm having them with, proteins and fats, that's going to allow me to eat or drink higher number of carbs so that long term I can do this. I've been coaching for almost 30 years. And what I found is that if people enjoy something that they're doing, they're going to do it for a very long time. And I get this question all the time, like, what's the best exercise? And I'll just ask them a very simple question. What do you like to do? That is the best exercise. I can help you figure out how to do it in the way that's going to be better for you and give you better results. But if you hate something, I don't care how good it is, you're not doing it for very long. It's just not going to happen. So lifestyle to me is something that's enjoyable and it's going to give you results that you can do long term. So for me, it's really important to make sure that people understand you don't want to be under 20 grams for very long, right? That's just to get you into ketosis and lock you into that state for longer enough so that when you start doing the cleansing days, you're not going to get pulled out of that too much. And if you've done cleansing days before, or when you do them, you're going to notice your ketone numbers are going to drop quite a lot. And they might even get under, like you could be in between 1.5 and 3 up to 2 something. You do a cleansing day and it's going to go down to 0.8 or 1 or whatever. Don't freak out, right? That's just, there's 40 grams of carbs coming into your system on a cleansing day just from the cleansing drink. And it's going to suppress your ketone numbers. But when you start having that bulletproof coffee or the fat in your coffee the next day, and then you start doing the protein and the fats and getting your carbs under 50 grams the next day, if that protein and fat is going to crank your ketone numbers up again. You're going to be totally fine. Yep, Wendy?
So, so 20 carbs, how long? Like 2 weeks? Is that what you're saying?
Most people, let's say 80 to 90% of the people who do it at 20 grams or less are going to be fine in a few days. And within that first week, they're going to be in ketosis, like over 0.5, right? And if they're lucky and they're really dialed in, they're going to get up into 1.5 to 3, right? They're going to be in that optimal fat burning state. If you, let's say it's been 14 weeks for the first, or 14 days for the first 2 weeks, right? Let's say on day 12, somebody finally gets into ketosis, I wouldn't have them cleanse on that next Monday and Tuesday, like 2 days later. I would have them do another week or so of under 20 to make sure that they really lock in that ketosis, that their body's ability to generate ketones, because they're not generating them really long enough to go into 50 grams or under, right?
Okay, so I pretty much am in ketosis. So I'm just wondering, because do you just add like 5 a day to see how you do, or do you change any of your other macros, or have you already talked about this? Because I only watched like.
We're gonna talk about that in a minute. Right? Okay. So for the weeks 1 and 2, you're gonna go under 20. Just stick under 20, and I think it's as much the mental game that you can do it. And you've done all the recording. You figured out how tough it is to do it. And you also become aware of how many carbs are in things by doing that, right? Like I screwed up the first time I did it by having a bunch of cashews. I'm like, hey, cashews can't be that bad. Ate a bunch of cashews. And then I'm like, okay, so let's put that into Carb Manager. I was like, holy crap. Like I can't eat any more carbs the rest of the day. None. So I was just protein and fat. I was drinking tablespoons of MCT oil by the end of the day to try and get my fat up because I couldn't have any other carbs. It was gross. So that's how I learned, right? And so many people, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but so many people are mentally so weak, they can't stay on track with something. But when you force yourself to go under 20 grams of carbs for 2 weeks, I love that it's hard. Like I really love that it's hard. I like that sharing isogenics is difficult because so many people won't do it because it's difficult in their head. I don't find it's difficult, but a lot of people do. Makes it easier for me to share with people because there's not as many people out there talking with people about isogenic. I like that it's hard because what it does when you're getting back to net fuel and doing this program properly, what it does is when you do it properly, it gives you that sense of satisfaction and victory over your brain, right? And your desire to do something different. And when you get to that point, you're like, screw you, I can do this. Right? And when things get difficult in your life, you just remember back to how much your brain wanted you to do something different. Because it does, right? It's like whether it's your brain or you want to talk about the devil trying to get in your head and try to steer you away from your path that you're designed to get to. It's good that it's hard. Stay strong, because when you get through that, you're going to be so much more powerful in your ability to do so many other things because you conquered that. Does that make sense? Or is that just me being a weirdo? Yes, Sunny.
In the Jewish faith, it's called the Yetzer Hara. My friend talks about it all the time. You know, it's like that little guy that wants to be mischievous and say, yeah, you can have that chips, or you can do this and you can do that. But it also is a good thing because when you conquer it, like you said, you feel better. So it's just kind of interesting thing.
Yep. You feel better, you feel invincible, and so many other areas of your life, when things tempt you, you're going to be, okay, what's really important to me? I don't like doing cleansing days. I really don't. But I love the way they make me feel and the way they make me look and what they do for my cellular turnover and my health. That's why I do them. I don't focus on the difficulty and the deprivation of the actual cleansing day. I'm focusing on the benefits that I'm going to get afterwards, right? So anyway, so that's, for me, that's what I want people to think about. So as you're going through the program, you're going to do a couple weeks of under 20 grams. And if somebody's not going to get into ketosis until the end of that 2-week period, have them do another week of cleansing under 20, or another week of under 20 grams before they get into the cleansing day. Because we want to get them into ketosis for at least a week before they do the first 2 cleansing days. So important. Because if they don't, they're going to lose ketosis during the cleansing days, and they're going to struggle to get it back as they start to increase their carbs afterwards. You want to get them into a really solid state of ketosis. Nancy, stop yawning. You're killing me. So we want to get them into a really solid state of ketosis before they go up to 50. And here's what a lot of people are going to find. It's really hard to get to 50 grams of carbs after you've been under 20 for 2 weeks. Right? You're going to be about 30 to 40. And you're going to have to work hard to get it up to 50 because you've switched things over in your brain that you're not eating a lot of these foods that were really pulling you out of ketosis before, or moving towards carbs before. That's such an awesome place to be. But there's so many great foods, especially that Isogenics has, that are so nutritious for you, like the greens and the fruits and the Ionic Supreme. Add them in when you go up to 50. Don't try and stay low. Yeah, Nance?
So on the weeks when you are doing 50, is it important to make sure you get 50, or is it okay if you're like at 30, 35?
Totally okay. As long as you're doing those nutritious things like ionics and fruits and greens, if you've got them, like I have them, I add them in. Sometimes what happens is you start to pull back from having those other carbohydrate type foods like vegetables. And it's so important to get in, but you get into this groove of being simple with your meals. And it's so easy to not have those foods. And like, kind of struggle with this because it's not like there's a lot of nutrition in vegetables these days, right? But there are some benefits to getting them in. But at least get the fruits and vegetables powders into your system, and the Ionic Supreme, because they're so good. If you were doing E+ shots and Nox before, add those back in. Some of the amped products have a lot of sugar in them, right? Or a lot of carbohydrates. Add in a half of a scoop, because a lot of people are going to ask me a question like this, and they're going to ask you the same thing. Can I have blah, 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 right? And I'm like, I don't know. How's it affecting your ketone numbers? Because everybody's different. So if you add that in and your ketone numbers drop out afterwards, Jody's shaking her head or nodding her head because she knows all this, right? When you add that stuff in, if it doesn't adversely affect your ketone numbers, then yes, the answer is you can have that, right? But if you're at a state for whatever reason and you're having something either all on its own, because the other part of the lifestyle thing is what you can take in and when, you can get away with a lot more carbs if you're having them that are more complex carbohydrates. You're having them right before, during, or after exercise, and you're having them with protein and fat. Right? That's why our Isoline shakes, you can have an Isoline or Isoline Pro shake once you've gone through this program for a month, and it won't pull you out of ketosis. But if you had that in the early stages, it'll pull you out of ketosis really quickly because you're not firmly enough in it that having that amount of carbs is going to not affect you. A bit later, once you've gotten into that point where your body's really good at generating ketones and being fat adapted and burning fat, you can have an Isoline or Isoline Pro shake straight up, no problem. It's not going to pull you out of ketosis, especially if you're having it around exercise, which you should do because it's a great recovery shake. And it's got a lot of protein and fat in and around those carbs. So that's a great combination to bring into your system. Does that make sense?
Can I just say something? Because coming from an athlete perspective, I tried to add in my old performance line, like our Nitro, and I find I don't need it. Right? So why am I taking something that my body is going to reject? Because I would start to feel crappy halfway through my run. And I realized it was the Nitro. So
a lot of that too is just spiking your blood sugar up. So now you're getting pulled out of that fat burning state, which you're so good at being in now, right? So you're getting into that glycolic energy system. You don't have a lot of glycogen in your system because you're probably training fasted, right? So you're adding this Nitro in, jacking up your blood sugars, and then your insulin processes that out. Now you've got no sugars in your system because you're not focusing on eating a lot of carbs. And you're like, man, I'm exhausted. Right? So it's better to use something like, if you guys are coaching endurance athletes, a product that, if you're in the US, a product that works really well is called, it's from Now Sports. Actually, I'll type it into the chat here, just so you have it. It's called Now, it's from Now Sports, and it's called Waxy Maize. Now Sports. And maize is just, it's corn, right? And I get it on bodybuilding.com. And it's $25. for 5 pounds. It is so inexpensive, and it just tastes like chalk. It tastes like chalky water. It sounds kind of gross, but it's amazing. You don't get hungry as you're using it. It's not going to spike your blood sugar. It's a really low glycemic product. I know I'm going to talk to Jody in a second because if you're in Canada, there's some other products up there. But if you're trying to get a low glycemic carb type product into your system that's not going to affect your body's ability to burn body fat for fuel, do this stuff. Because the stuff we were using before was from a company called UCAN. So UCAN, UCANgeneration.com. Their stuff was $40 a pound. This is $5. Right? It's so inexpensive. It's crazy, and it works better. So, and then Jody, what are you using up in Canada now? Because I know it's hard for you to get products that we have down here.
Yeah, so I found keto carb at Popeye Supplements, and they didn't have the unflavored. I accidentally grabbed the flavored one, and I promptly took it back because it had artificial flavors in it. But they did get it in for me right before my first half marathon, and so I did use it. It is the same. It is very chalky tasting, and it was not what I expected. So the next time I used it, which was my 10K this weekend, just to have something at the 30-minute mark, a quick sip, I added a little bit of that Ultima electrolytes just to flavor it a bit. And it took it didn't have that taste anymore. So that's what I do. And then I did get the 3 Fuel that I'm going to try this weekend. I find it mixes thicker, so I might need more water, or less, I don't know.
Yep.
It's not the same though. It's a little bit, I felt like it was more jelly.
Very jelly. And that's why we went to the Waxy Maze, because for Michelle and I, we're just out there riding for so long. I can't get enough fuel, like enough calories into a bottle because it gets so thick.
Yeah.
We went with that Waxy Maze, and it was just a great product for that. So, anyways.
Yeah. Keto carb.
Keto carb is good. Okay. So a couple questions here on page 19. I just asked here, so people are going to ask you, when can I start eating fruit? Can I stop putting fat in my coffee? Because we want them to do, MCT oil and ghee. We talked about this the other day. But once you've gone through that first month, again, the benefits of being really restrictive and on track and, tough on yourself and with other people are so important in the beginning, because it's going to do so many things mentally for them to keep them on track. So that when they've gone through that process of being really on track with the whole program, they're going to come out of that and feel like you can do anything. And so many times food pulls people away from that. It's so important. The lady in my team right now is over 400 pounds, and she's finally decided to get started on that fuel, right? She's doing well with the program, but she keeps getting pulled off, right? Late at night, after 7 o'clock, she's like, I got this carb craving. So I had tortillas last night. I can't remember what else she had, but it wasn't good, right? I go, hey, at least you did 2 days perfectly, and the 3rd day sucked. That's okay, right? Let's do 3 days perfectly afterwards, right? But it's as you go through this program, you're going to get better and better and better at it. And when they do that, it's so satisfying to feel good about what you've done. So when people have gone through the program initially, they're going to start asking questions like kind of lifestyle stuff. Well, when can I start adding stuff back in? Because this isn't designed to be a long-term, super restrictive, really low carb program, right? I want to figure out how can people get going in the future and start to add things back in, and Jody's done a really good job of this and understanding that she can add in a certain number of carbs that are way over 50 grams of carbs a day when she's exercising and she's doing complex carbs and she's adding them in with protein and fat. So that's where the Keto Mojo comes in really handy, or any blood ketone monitor, is you start gradually, like Wendy, you started asking, just start gradually pumping your carbs up, right? Like, like you're at 50, go to 60 or 70 for a couple of days. And how does that affect your ketone numbers? And
yeah, Wendy, I went up by 10.
Yep.
And that's how I knew.
And what did you get to, Jody, before you realized, okay, your ketone numbers are starting?
About 110 is about where I got, because then after that, I found that as I ate more, I craved more. So I jumped from 110 to 140, and I was out.
Yep.
So the more carbs I eat, the more I want.
Were
right?
you going up 10 a day, or was it like 10 a week?
It was 10 a day.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was adding more isogenics back, really. That was the easiest way because it stressed me out. I was like, I can't eat all this food.
Mhm.
But if you start looking at the carbs that we started to cut out, you can add those back in easily just to get you up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I love that that's a part of this program, so that it's not super restrictive. It's just what you're able to do, and everybody's different. So when people start asking you, well, can I add fruit back in, or when can I start changing my coffee? Like, I don't do MCT oil and ghee in my coffee. I have cream, like heavy whipping cream, and Kerrygold butter. That's what I put in my coffee in the morning, right? That keeps me in ketosis, and I like the taste a lot better. So I'm going to do that long term. But when somebody's initially getting started, have them stick with the program, MCT oil and ghee, right? If they don't want to do the dairy issue with the ghee, have them do the non-dairy version, right, with the coconut milk. There's a recipe in the files section on that. So that's the type of thing I want people to start to understand. Just like Jody says, just start pumping up your carbs. Use Carb Manager, track them, take your ketone numbers, right? The only time you really need to do your ketone numbers is when you're starting to change things to see how your body reacts. And do this too, like exercise. Like, try and get more. If you want to eat more carbs, bring them in and around your exercise. Have them more as complex carbohydrates around exercise. You're going to burn them up more. You're going to have less of an impact to your ketone numbers because your insulin's not going to have to go up as much. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm going to use this as an example. Let's say you're sitting on your butt and you're doing nothing and you have a certain number of carbs, and you have to release 20 units of insulin to process those carbs. If you're exercising and you have that same amount of carbohydrates, you're only going to need to release about 10 units of insulin, because your body is going to be burning the sugars that are coming in on those carbohydrates that you're eating or drinking. So if you're exercising, you're not going to need to release as much insulin. You're going to stay in fat burning better, and it's not going to impact your ketone numbers. Yeah, Jody?
I have a question just about that. So when you become fat adapted and you're eating more carbs, can your body switch fuel sources after?
Well, you're always burning both. You're never just burning fat or carbs, right? You're always burning a combination. So what I'm trying to get people to do as they're going through net fuel is increase the percentage of fats that they're accessing in their system, and decreasing the reliance on, if you want to think about it as a wording, decreasing the reliance of carbohydrates or glycogen, because you're always burning both,
Okay.
right? So
I just have a question too when you're done, Steve. Sorry.
Yeah, so go ahead.
So and it goes back to Jody saying that she increased it by 10 a day. So I went into Carb Master right now, and I increased it from 20 to 30 for tomorrow. And it just, like, do I adjust my calories too? Because it kept my calories the same and it adjusted all my other numbers. Or should I not worry about that? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, think about all your food is and I hate to say this because I absolutely love this type of food, but think about it as a pie chart. I love pie. Strawberry rhubarb pie, totally awesome. I'm really good at baking a pie crust too, so I'm gonna actually have to make that soon. But anyways, think about it as a pie chart. If you increase the number of carbs, you're going to have to decrease the number of proteins and fats, right? So when we go up to 50 grams, for example, it takes the proteins from 25 down to 23. Like, if you go from 20 to 50, you're going from about 5% up to about 10% of carbs. So you're going to bring your protein down from 25 to 23 and your fat down from 70 to 67. So yes, the answer is you're going to decrease the other numbers as well, a little bit.
Calories are the same though.
Okay.
Yep. All right. And I remember last time we talked about adjusting the program. As you get going through this and you start getting better fat adapted, if you don't increase your exercise, which a lot of people do, right? But if you don't increase your exercise, what's going to happen, especially for you right now, you got your knee issues, then you're going to have to decrease your calories because you're getting more energy from your body fat. Because you're getting more fat adapted, you're bringing in more energy endogenously rather than exogenously. So you're not having to eat as much of your calories because you're getting it more from your body. So you might end up having too much coming in as you get more fat adapted if you're not changing your exercise. Fortunately, most of the people you're going to be working with, as they start feeling better and they get more energy, they're getting more fat adapted, usually they want to exercise a little bit more, so they're going to burn more energy from what they're doing.
Hey, Steve, I have a question. Can I
Yep.
ask a question?
Mhm.
So you and I swapped some messages the other day about my decreasing my calories
Yep.
because I'm in ketosis, but I'm not at like 1.2. And I'm just wondering, so today's day 2 of being at less calories, I feel fine. Like I'm still not hungry.
Yep.
2 things. One is, should I see an increase in my ketone numbers as a result of that because I'm being more fat burning? Or are those 2 totally unrelated things? And if I'm still feeling good at this amount of calories, should I drop it another 100 and see what happens?
Everything's related.
Or do I just need to be patient and keep doing what I'm doing and knowing that I'm going to keep releasing fat?
Yes, yes, and yes. So everything's related, and it's going to take a little bit of time. And yes, you need to be patient. I like the number 2 weeks. So when somebody, and it could be way longer than 2 weeks. Obviously, if somebody's dieted forever and their metabolism's an absolute freaking mess, right? Just increasing their calories is going to take longer than 2 weeks for their metabolism to come back and get rolling again, right?
Yep.
But for somebody like you, you've been, it's not like you've been dieting and under fueling for so long. You've just been, just not hitting the right points properly. You're going to see a better reaction, I think, than most people, because you've been working on this for a while, right? But I think within 2 weeks, you should see a change in things. So a couple of days, too short of a time. Be patient. Like focus on 2 weeks, but it'd probably take about a week for you.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Good. Okay, is that good for all that stuff? Lifestyle stuff going forward, measure your ketones, gradually increase things. So I want to talk about marketing. So this is good. This isn't even in your...
Actually, one other thing is,
Yep.
So if I'm at like week 5, do I just keep repeating week 3 and 4 as long as I'm still in ketosis?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So 2 cleanse days and then my...
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of times I skip through that. People think that when we start a new thing every 5 weeks that they got to go back 120. You don't need to go back 120 unless you do some things during that sort of off week where you get pulled totally out of ketosis. Then yes, you need to go back 120, but not for 2 weeks. You'll probably get it back after about 2 days, which is a lot better. So, Lilia, does that make sense?
That sounds very nice. Looking forward to that.
Good. Excellent. Okay, so let's talk about sharing isogenics. And for me, I've just got a bunch of notes here, so you don't have anything in your book. So you're just kind of hanging out and just sort of listening to what I have to say. I've probably enrolled about 600 people into isogenics. I take the approach of bringing people in and plugging them into the information and pointing them in the right direction, and then just letting them go. Right? I'm not a big babysitter of people. Way too much work. For me, it's like I have no problems enrolling people into isogenics because I think I focus on things that are really effective with folks. And what I like to explain to people right up from the beginning, and Net Fuel is a really good example of this, is keto works, right? There's things out there that are effective, but they're not necessarily healthy. And I think the reason this is so effective for people is because it's a healthy version of doing keto, and it's easy to follow long term. And I think that's so important for people to understand. There could be things out there that are effective, but if they're not healthy, it's not going to last for them. And I think isogenics, for me, is something that's so easy to share with people because it's so healthy for them and it's changing so many other areas of their life. That's what I like to focus on. So when you're talking to people about, I'm going to try and focus on the net fuel component of sharing isogenics, but I'm going to bring in a lot of non-net fuel things because it's really complementary. For me, I'm always trying to find out from somebody what it is they're looking for. And Wendy's really good at this as well. And if you guys have been sharing isogenics for a while, you're going to be really good at it as well, because we don't sell isogenics. I don't ever feel like I'm selling as much as I'm providing a gift to somebody that's worth so much more than it's ever going to cost them. And I'll tell you right now, it's probably been, I've been doing isogenics for 12 years now. It's probably been about 10 years since somebody said to me, wow, that's really expensive. Yeah, I'm not interested. Never, ever get isogenics that's too expensive. Because by the time I finally tell them the price, they're to the point they're like, wow, I can't afford it. But dude, I can't afford not to do it. Like, that's such a great deal for what I'm going to get. I'm really excited about getting started on that at some point in time. I just can't put it on my credit card right now. That's totally cool, right? But people will always find a way to do something that they want to do. So our job is to show value to somebody. When it comes to net fuel, a big value added of that is the coaching that they're going to get through the program, right? That structure that's already put in place. Because somebody could go onto the internet and find out about ketosis. And there's a ton of information out there. They're going to be completely overwhelmed and confused. They're not going to know what to do. I talk to so many people who have no clue how to do ketosis in a healthy way. They want to do things healthy. If they don't, I'm not really that interested in talking to them. Because I'm looking for people who are looking for solutions that are going to move them towards a better healthy state rather than just get a result. Because if they just want a result, we've all brought people into our team that are doing that, right? I just want to lose 20 pounds. They lose the 20 pounds. They stop ordering and they're gone, right? It's not worth me bringing them into my team for a $25 or $50 PIB or whatever if they're just going to order once or twice and then they're going to stop ordering. I'm looking for somebody who wants to get healthier and is going to incorporate these products into their body long term. And then ideally get so excited about the results that they've got, they're going to share it with other people. That's really what I'm looking for, right? Because I remember having this conversation with Jimmy Smith. I did an event with him up in Collingwood, Ontario one time. And we recognized each other, or I can't remember, I think it was at Phoenix. We were at a New Year's kickoff and I saw him and I said hi and he asked me how things were going because obviously Jimmy's doing really well in the business. He was asking me how I'm doing. And this lady was listening in and she just interrupted us as we were talking and said, I'm not interested in making any money with Isogenics. I just want to help people. And Jimmy just looked at her and he said, and I always remember this, he says, well, how much money are you making? She said, well, I'm not making any money. He said, well, if you're not making any money, you're not helping anybody. Because you can't help people in this company without making money. You can't make money without helping them. So if you're making no money, then you're not helping anybody. Like you have to help people, right? If you've got this great product, you know how great it is. If you think you're helping people and you're not making any money, then you're not helping anybody. I always thought about that. And I just love that because I can make money doing anything. I can sell anything, right, if I wanted to. But I want to help make an impact to people. And I've been coaching for almost 30 years now. And I've made more of an impact in more people's lives sharing Isogenics with them than I've ever made coaching. My athletes have won world championship races around the world and qualified dozens of people to Ironman Hawaii. This is an amazing company to be in. So what I always want to have people do is understand when they're sharing Isogenics, and I coach a lot of people in my team on how to do this, is just connect with them. Find out what they're looking for. And a lot of times people are going to ask me, well, should I get them on the 30-day program or the net fuel program? I go, I have no idea. It completely is up to the person that you're talking to, right? Really what you want to think about is what is it that they want and what are they willing to do? So I just explain the two programs, and this is how I do it, right? I'm skipping ahead, but we'll come back to how to share this with people. But just to get out of the way between the 30-day and the keto program, I'm just going to say to somebody, we've got two different ways that I can help you. One is really hard. It's really effective, but it's really hard. You're going to have to monitor a lot of stuff that you're eating, and you're going to have to give up a lot of things. It's very difficult, but it's going to give you incredible results. And the other one is really simple. It works great. It's a great place to start. And if you did that initially, I think that would probably work great for you. It's easier. The results are just a little slower. Which one are you more interested in? And I just let them tell me. It's not my job to decide for somebody what they want. And it goes to the same thing when it comes to the value pack versus the premium pack versus the 30-day versus the shake and cleanse pack or versus buying a canister of shake and a thing of Ionic Supreme. I don't care what somebody gets. I really don't. I just want them to get healthier and get better results in their body. I would love everybody to come in on an ultimate pack. I've shared those with people and I've sold them. I've made a lot of money sharing people Isogenics. But I just go through the different options and I go, they're all great. The more you spend, the better results you're going to get. So it's more dependent upon what you can afford and how important it is for you to change your health. If it's not that important and you can't afford much, then don't get the big pack. But if it's really critical that you really transform your health and you can afford it, you really need to look at the higher end packs because they're going to give you a way better bang for your buck than spending less. And keep in mind, everything that Isagenix has got a 30-day guarantee. So you could use it all up in a month. And before that 30 days is up, call the company and they're going to give you your money back. They sell between $3 and $4 million a day in food. They can afford it. Don't worry about it, right? I've never had somebody disappointed with our customer service. That's exactly word for word how I share Isagenix with people. So I'm going to go into a couple other things here. And this is, if you're going to listen to the recording over and over again, this is the part here, right? We're about an hour into the call right now. So just before an hour into the call, go to that part of the recording because this is going to make you a lot of money and simplify your life if you're going to share Isagenix with people. Again, I've enrolled over 600 people into this company, and I've been doing this for 12 years. So I'm on average about a person a week, consistently, every week. First 4 months I was in Isagenix, I enrolled 100 people. Okay, I know what I'm doing. So I just ask people questions. So I've got a bunch of notes here to keep me on track so we're not talking till like midnight. So really what I want people to think about is that they know I know what they want. I'm going to connect with that person. I'm going to ask some questions before I ever bring up Isagenix, right? I'll do a lot of connecting online. I connect with people in gyms. I connect with ladies at the cash register, at the grocery store, right? I'm in no rush to share Isagenix. I'm going to create a presence. I'm going to get to know people. I'm going to say hi. I'm going to find out what you're doing. What are your goals? What are you looking for? Those are questions I'm going to ask all the time. I've been living in this community here for 1.5 years, and there's a guy I talked to today. The first time I ever talked to him about anything related to Isagenix was today, and I've seen him for a year. I want him to know that I'm in that gym every day and that I am way bigger and way stronger than him, and I'm getting way more muscle than he is. And he's in the gym 7 days a week, and I'm in there 4 days a week. And I go in, and I'm in and out in 40 minutes, and he's in there before I go in, and he's in there until after I come out. So I'm working out way less than him, and he's probably 20-something years old. I'm 53. I'm way older than him. So when I start talking to him about Isagenix, he's going to go, dude, I don't know what it is you do, but I need to know about it. So I just asked him today, hey, Omar, like, are you open to other ways of creating income? I help people in the fitness industry who are interested in healthy ways of, improving their life and helping other people generate extra income. He just looked at me like I was joking. Right? He's like, that's all I'm interested in. Right? I'm like, what do you do? I go, well, just give me your contact information. I'm kind of busy right now. I'm working out with my neighbor. I'll get back to you in the next couple of days. Right? That's it. First time I've talked to him for a while. You're just going to connect with people and find out a little bit more about them. Okay? Ask questions. And there's a term I always like to say to people in my team. If you ask enough questions from somebody, they will always tell you everything you need to know to share Isagenix with them. So if you ever feel slimy about talking about Isagenix, it's because you haven't asked enough questions. You just haven't learned enough from somebody to know what to share with them. Because if you're asking them the right questions and you've asked enough questions, they're going to talk about things that they'd rather be doing, but they can't because something's holding them back. Or they're going to go right into the things that are holding them back in their life that they're pissed off about, that they don't have a solution for. And chances are, one of our solutions is going to be of interest to that person. Here's the struggle. You're going to want to tell them about Isagenix. Don't, right? Tell them about your story first. It's still a struggle for me. I get so excited about sharing Isagenix. I just want to tell them everything about it. But there's the better thing to do is tell the story. Here's what I do, right? I'm going to ask them questions. What would you rather be doing? Well, why aren't you doing more of that? So they tell me about the things that are holding them back, right? I go, well, what are you doing about it? Whether it's energy or money or weight, whatever. And they're going to tell me the things that they've tried to do to overcome that issue. And I'm going to ask them how it's working. And they're going to say, well, not so much, right? And then I'm going to ask them a very simple question. Can I give you some information that I think you'd be interested in hearing? They're going to say yes. They always do, right? And here's the trick, right? Don't tell them about Isagenix. Tell them your story. Before I heard about this system that really transformed my life, I was stressed out. I was working my arse off, right? I was spending a lot of money, on organic food and range-fed meat. It was okay, but dude, I was like spending so much time and money trying to eat healthy, and it really wasn't giving me the results that I was looking for. So where were you before, right? Who told you about Isagenix? A friend of mine who's a sex therapist, but that's not how I know her. I love saying that because it's funny, right? So who told you about Isagenix, right? Told me about this program, and I decided to check it out. And in 2 weeks, I lost an inch off my waist and gained a half an inch of muscle across my arms and my shoulders and my back. Never was able to build muscle. So excited about that. Okay, so what happened, right? Who told you and what happened? And then so what? What did you do about it? And now I'm just telling people about what I found because it's transformed my life and so many other people's lives. So there's my story, right? You can do that in 30 seconds. I never worry about how long it takes. If it takes me 2 minutes to tell the story, that's fine, right? I don't care. I'm not too concerned about the 30-second story. And then I asked them this question: are you still interested in hearing more? Right? Because there's this process I call CAPI. And Susan Slide told me this. I'm in Susan's team. She did my first 6 three-way calls. So the CAPI is C, common ground. So just connect with people. A is affirmation. Hey, you look like you're doing great. What are you working on? Oh my gosh, I'm having such a hard time building muscle, right? You're affirming somebody to connect better with them. P is permission, right? You're going to ask them, can I get permission to give you more information? And I is the information. And finally, after you tell their story and they're still interested in hearing about it, then you give them the information. So here's what I did with this guy in the gym today. Hey, here's my phone. Find yourself on Facebook and friend request yourself. And then when you get home, accept my friend request. And now we're connected on Facebook. And here's my contact list. Put your name and phone number in there, and I'll send you some more information later on how we can connect and talk a little bit more about what I've got that I think will be really useful for you. Right? It's so simple. Like, it's a process. And if you're going to use social media or you're going to connect with people in person, what most people do is they've got the circle of a process and they just hit one area of that circle and they wonder why things aren't working. And if you're on social media, one area of that circle is you post this really kick-ass post that only 2% of your friends are seeing, right? So what I do on Facebook, for example, I'm going to post stuff that's, I think, really interesting for people. Well, I think it's interesting anyways, or entertaining or educational or informative or helpful, right? And then I go find those people that I want to talk to. You have to reach out to them directly and you've got to help them. Here's what they're going to do. Who's this guy? I don't even know who he is, right? Now they're going to go to my timeline and then they're going to see my stuff, right? You have to do that. You have to do the work to connect with people. I just enrolled a lady from Shakeology the other day. I've been prospecting her for 2 years on Facebook and Instagram, right? And I finally connected with her, got her on the phone 3 weeks ago, and she was doing the Nashville Marathon because she was freaking out because she wasn't ready for this race. And in that 3-week period, helped her lose almost 12 pounds, feel better than she has in years because we got her going on Isagenix. She absolutely loved these products, and she's going to start sharing them instead of Shakeology because Shakeology just wasn't doing it for her, right? But it took me 2 years to connect with her and to get her on the phone. Right? And in that 2-year period, I gave her a lot of information to help her. And I don't care that you're not a performance coach. Whatever it is you do, you're going to be able to connect with people and give them information and help them and lead them to different bits of information that are going to be useful for them. Right? You're part of this MasterClass. So if you ever want to do a 3-way call with me because you run into an athlete, right, that you think I would be able to help you with, just send me a message. I'll do a 3-way call. I did a 3-way call with a guy named Gino earlier this week, and he just messaged me today and said, hey, could you do another one with me tomorrow? Because we signed up that guy on Monday, right? And I got this other guy, a gym owner, that I want to sign up today or tomorrow, right? I'm good at 3-way calls because here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask questions, find out what that person's looking for, provide some information on why Isagenix is exactly what they need, give them some options, and I'm going to tell them that you are the absolute best coach in the company to help them get the results that they're looking for. And that whatever you say, they should do. And they're going to ask you, do you have any other questions? And they're going to say, no. I'm going to go, awesome, welcome to the team. You're going to love this company. I'm going to hang up now. If you need me later, let me know. But, they're going to help you do amazing. Just do whatever they say, right? It's not about me. It's about them and a little bit of you. Okay, Sunny?
So this is wonderful information because looking back on, because I haven't shared with that many, and looking back on, I have one friend that I've been talking to about it, and I totally fire hosed her. And she told me that. She said, you totally overwhelmed me. Huh?
I've never done that.
And I'm not dissing myself. It's like a toddler learning to walk or whatever.
Yeah.
What I love that you've done, and not besides the process, you have piqued their interest. It's like you're giving them a little popcorn trail to follow, and getting them excited about something. There's something here, but it's not until they're really engaged with you that you then tell them more.
Yep.
So I see where my error, and it's funny because I just recently enrolled my cousin, and we're like brother and sister, and we'd been talking about health, and all of a sudden he just talked about what his goals were and what he wanted. I'm like, I have an isogenics moment here. It's like also recognizing those opportunities to have that. I'm learning more about that, but this is really helpful. Thank you. And I'm sorry, but I have to go.
That's okay.
But I want to talk to you at another time more.
Yep, no problem.
All right. Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye, Sunny.
Bye.
So, and keep in mind, this whole net fuel program is a great value added for somebody. And if you've noticed in the rules or the front end thing and the start here thing, I don't want prospects on this page, right? They have to have joined your team before they get in, because you're going to hang this out as a carrot to people to say, when you join my team, you're going to get access, potentially, if you want to do this keto thing, you're going to get access to this group. It's going to allow you to get through the program. And you're going to have so much support. You're going to get so much information. Like, you guys are on the MasterClass, and I got the book, right? But you don't need this MasterClass, and you don't need the book to go through the program, right? I'd set it up specifically so that if somebody went to the Start Here file, they could go through that. They'd have to look everywhere for the information. So this is giving it to you all at once, so you don't have to go searching for it. But if somebody wanted to go look through the information, they can go through this program and get results, get great results, right? I want you to know that people can come into this team, this group, and get great results. That's a huge value for somebody. They don't have to worry about searching through the internet to figure out how to do a healthy keto program. So don't bring people in unless they're signed up into your team, and then accept them into the group. Like, hang this out there for people. You don't need to do this program. It's hard. It's going to work great. But if you join my team, I have ability to access you into that group, right? Like, hang that out there for people because it's so important. Okay. And I talked earlier about the, ongoing health aspects, the lifestyle component of things. Isogenics is so great because of that, right? We've got so much ability to help people really improve their health, not just get a result, right? I'm always looking for people who want that long-term lifestyle. For me, it is really a pain in the ass to coach people through this program. And for $25, it's not freaking worth it. It's not, right? So I'm looking for people to come into my team who want to share Isogenics. So here's how I do it with people. So this is gold for you guys if you haven't heard this before. When I'm talking to somebody about Isogenics, I'm going to build up the value. I'm going to ask them, okay, so what's this worth to you? Because I don't want you to do this. This is word for word what I do, right? I don't want you to do this program unless it's worth more to you than it's going to cost you. So promise me you're not going to do it. And they're like, dude, I'm not going to do it if it's not worth more to me. Of course, right? But I want them to know that I'm on their side. Because there's 4 things that I always think about when I'm prospecting somebody. Number 1 is problem. I want to find out their problem. Number 2 is promise. I'm going to promise to help them find a solution. Number 3 is the proof. I'm going to show them that this is going to work. And number 4 is the plan. What do they need to do for this to work for them? If you've been effective at bringing people into your team before, you did all those 4 things. If you weren't, you missed one of them, or 2 of them, or 3 of them, right? It's just sales. People want to know you understand what their problem is because you're not selling them, you're solving a problem. You're promising to help them find a solution, not just sell them something. You're showing them that this works, so that makes them feel comfortable, and you're showing them that they can do it so that they can get those results. So when I'm talking to somebody, I want to let them know that this is going to be worth more to them than it's going to cost them. I'm going to ask them how much money they're going to save on meals, how much money they're going to save on snacks, right? That Isagenix is going to replace. And they're going to say, what are the value of the benefits to you? So what's it worth to you to lose 20 pounds in the next month? Have more energy, live longer, be happier, have a better relationship with your partner. Like all the things that are likely going to happen. And remember, we got this awesome guarantee. If it doesn't work, send it back and get your money back, right? So what's that worth to you? Come up with a number. I usually get people up between $2,000 and $5,000 is the value that they're going to get from doing the program. Remember, you never get Isagenix is too expensive. And then I tell them two things. I go, okay, so I think the best program for you is the value pack. We've got two prices on that. It's $700 for the retail price and about $580 for the wholesale price. Which one would you like? I know this is shocking to you guys, but they almost always go with the wholesale price because it's less. I know, it's crazy. But they always want the less price, right? And I go, okay, that's totally cool. I obviously make less money selling it to you at the wholesale price. So is it fair that when you get results, we talk about referrals of people that you know that need to hear about this? And I just pause. She's usually on the phone, so it's just a silent pause. And they're like, yeah, that's totally cool. If you're going to save me $150, like, yeah, right? So now I've got confirmation that when they get results, I can call them back and say, okay, so now those referrals that we talked about, right? But I take it a step further. During the conversation, I go, because here's what's going to happen. I know you're going to get great results, because if you don't, you're sending this back and you're getting your money back, and I don't want you telling anybody about Isagenix. But it's going to work, right? And you're going to tell people about how great this program is working. And you're going to have probably, let's say 10 people that you know, because we all know people like us, they're going to be interested in what you're doing. Some people are going to ask you what you're doing, and other people you're going to think about, and you're going to go, you need to hear about this thing. If you send me those 10 referrals, I will get you this at the wholesale price. So you're going to save $150. Is that fair? I reconfirm it, right? And they go, yes. I go, great. If you send me 10 referrals, if 5 of those people get started on that same pack that you're going to get started on, I'm going to make over $1,000. And I'm going to say, thank you so much. But you know what? If you decide that you love this program so much that you want to keep using some of the products, I would actually like you to get those people signed up so that you get the $1,000. Would that be okay? And I know this is shocking, but they almost always say, yes, that would be awesome, right? So now I'm getting them to see that getting me referrals is going to make them money. I actually don't want them talking to people about Isagenix. I want to talk about it to their friends because they don't know what the heck to say, right? They're going to screw it up. So I go, here's what I'd like to do. If you're interested, is you send them some information. I will even send you a prospecting letter that you can send to your friends that'll direct them to the right information. All you're going to do is send them to, Isagenix Advantage. And if they're interested in the opportunity, also the next entrepreneur, right? You're just going to send them a little video link and a little blurb about what Isagenix is so that they can forward that off to their contacts that they know. You want that information in your new person's hands so they can start sharing Isagenix initially with people so that they can find out those referrals so they can send them to you. Because if they're not interested in building this business, I still want those referrals. Of the 100 people that I first enrolled in Isagenix, I did this right from the beginning because I've been in network marketing for a while, right? I didn't just learn this in Isagenix. Of the 100 people that I enrolled, 50 of them were people that I prospected that said yes, right? Of the other 50, those were referrals. Of my first 100 people, 50 were referrals. 30 of those referrals were from people that did the program, that got great results, that sent people to me. They weren't interested in the business because 12 years ago, you didn't make a lot of money sharing Isagenix. We had a 9-day for $10 PIV and a 30-day for a $25 PIV. And that was it, right? There was no bonuses or promotions that the company had. And then the other 20 people were referrals from people that said, no, I'm not really interested. But then I asked them, well, who do you know who is? I don't care that you're not interested in losing weight. You must know some people who are looking to get healthier, lose weight, or improve their performance. And they said, actually, yeah, you need to talk to my sister, right? So 20 of my first 100 people, 20% came from people that said, no, I don't want to do this, but I know people who do. Just ask that question, right? Ask the information. So I just find sharing isogenics with people is so simple. If you're going to be talking to people about the differences between, keto, healthy keto, net fuel, and the 30-day program, just be honest, right? I find people, think back to Pro Edge. If you got into Pro Edge initially, the reason it was so popular with people is because it was hard. We told people right from the beginning, this is going to kick your ass. This is going to be difficult. It's going to be hard, but it's going to work great. You're going to love it. Right? I don't mind telling people that. When I'm coaching, like I gave my wife's getting ready for Ironman Boulder right now. She had a 4.5 kilometer swim workout to do on a swim trainer in her game room upstairs. I went upstairs to see how she was doing. She just kind of looked at me and I was like, okay, I'm out of here. She's not in a good mood. Jody knows a lot. We've talked about training. So, but it's effective, right? People want effective. They're sick and tired of doing things that are easy that don't work. So don't be afraid of telling people when things are hard, right? Just be honest with them. Because there's 4 things that we do with net fuel that are really important. It's what you want to get across to people, right? This is different than keto. Yes, you can go online and do it for free. You can figure it out, and it's going to be hard, and it's not going to be healthy, and it's not going to work very well. This is different because we're going to give you optimal macronutrients. We provide the protein. It's better than anything you have access to. We're going to guide you on all the healthy fats because that's the thing that throws a lot of people off on keto, right? You're eating crap. And we're going to explain to you why it's so important to pay a little bit more and get good healthy fats into your system, along with these good healthy proteins. The micronutrients are awesome. So we want to show you that the Complete Essentials line is better than anything else out there. I love the Isogenesis. I've been using it since it was a test product years ago. And then the cleansing days, nobody else does that like Isogenics. And we're going to combine that with fasting to get cellular turnover and regeneration and take your body and your health to another level. And then the coaching and support. Our coaching is going to take all the uncertainty out of it for you. All you have to do is do it. You don't have to wonder and worry. And that is worth so much. Do you have any, and you just ask this question. Because the number one reason people don't get started with you is you don't ask. So here's what I like to do. Do you have any other questions? I don't ask, do you want to think about it? I go, do you have any other questions? And they go, no. Because if they do, I'll answer them, right? They go, no. I go, awesome. Welcome to the team. What flavor would you like? And then I let them get all worried about, I'm not ready, right? I remember we moved into our house. My wife likes to play the piano. We went out and bought a piano. It was $6,000, right? And we went out looking for a piano. And we were going to look around, but we went into this one place. And the lady was so good. And she asked us, do you have any other questions? And I was like, oh, she's awesome, right? I looked at Michelle and she goes, no, I'm good. I go, I don't have any other questions. And I knew what was coming next. She goes, okay, so do you want to finance it or do you just want to buy it? Stop getting worried about this. Think about you as a waitress or waiter at a restaurant and you're asking somebody what they want to eat for dinner. It's just food. They're spending money on food anyways. It's not a big deal. Just ask them, right? Welcome to the team. We're so excited to work with you. What flavor would you like to get started with, and where can we send the product? They're waiting for you to ask them because they don't want to do it as much as anything else, right? But they want the results, and they're never going to get across that bridge unless you offer to put the bridge in place, and that's welcome to the team. What flavor would you like? Just ask the question. Okay, anyways, that's all I have for tonight. So any questions? I know I went on. I think I covered the whole thing. This is my most exciting day because I love talking about sharing isogenics and lifestyle stuff. But any questions, Lilia, Jody, Rachel?
I'm glad that I came on today. I just went out of town and came back to San Antonio, and I made it in time. But I'm glad that you mentioned that this is different than keto and that it is more focused on the nutritional aspect of keto, which I think is awesome. Thank you very much. I think that there's an adjustment period, obviously for me, not so much in the way I feel, but just in just all the apps and all of that. It's going to take me some time. But I did want to ask you, because I do have friends that are on keto, and then one in particular was my very first recruit in isogenics, and she's a type 1 diabetic. And I had Jim Rhodes. I was at a conference that day when she called me. She got very sick. But anyway, she has struggled. She has multiple food allergies and all. She can't do coconut. She can't do eggs. I can't do eggs either. But anyway, So she told me, why are you focused on a calorie? And I wondered about that, because she said, isn't it more important to do the fats? And I wondered about that. Could you answer that? I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm always going to be a little bit nervous about the calories anyway, if I'm going to do the effort, are on keto and are maybe just eating fats galore, and going nuts, whatever. But she says, I don't think that the calories matter as much as the fact that you're getting the fat intake and all.
Here's what I like to think about is your body is smarter than you are, right? I don't personally, my body's smarter than me. Jody's body's smarter than her. I see Bethania's on the call. Her body's smarter than her. Same as you, Rachel. If you try and trick it by eating less calories, your body will start to think, okay, we need to conserve energy, and it's going to down-regulate your metabolism. So calories are important. If you eat too much, right, you're eating a lot and you're eating the same things and you're exercising a lot, your body will burn more energy because it's going to upregulate your metabolism. So calories are important. If you just lower your carbs and you crank up your healthy fats and you get into ketosis and you get more fat adapted, but you're eating too many calories, you're not going to lose fat if that's a goal because you're eating too many calories, right? So I always like to think about calories as a place to, like the calorie calculation that I have. Take your goal, ideal, lean body weight, add a 0 to the end of it. That's just a basic start point. And then factor in exercise. If you're a sedentary person, you're going to add 10% on that because you're doing something, right? And on and on and up until you're exercising like Jody and you're training all the time and you're going to, 50 to 75% or even more, depending on the particular weight. You're going to do that for a couple weeks. And if you're not getting results, because let's assume it's not right, but we got to start somewhere, right? So if you're not getting results, I always ask people, go through that flow chart that we've got. But are you somebody who's got a lot of energy or are you out of energy? Because if you're not getting results and you've got a lot of energy, you're getting the fuel in your body that you need to do the things you want, but it's got to be too high because you're not getting results, right? And if you're exhausted and you're not getting results, then that's usually what happens with people is they're not getting enough fuel in because that's why they're tired, and they're not getting results because their calories are too low and their body's holding on to fat. I don't care if you are in perfect ratio of macronutrients for proteins and fats and carbs. If you're not eating enough calories, your body will lock down your metabolism and stop you from accessing that fat for fuel. It has to in order to preserve that body fat for energy because it doesn't know when you're going to eat again because you keep telling it you're not going to give it enough. So calories are important.
Yeah, thank you. That clarifies it. I mean, like you said, don't argue, and I'm not. I mean, she's got a master's degree in nursing, but there are people that have lots of challenges, and that's why I've been her friend for a long time. I went through a food allergy for like 10 years. I started rejecting all kinds of foods, and I'm doing better, and that's all there is to it. I think it was a gallbladder issue. I found out much later. I had cysts in my gallbladder that I didn't know about. And I think they may have been growing at the time. And that's why I was having all these like allergies, but it went away. Yeah. So people
here's the way I think about people. They're either open to getting information and making a change or they're closed, right?
Yeah.
If they're closed. It doesn't matter what I say, right?
No.
And I don't really care what they think. And if they're open, then an objection or a question is really an opportunity for me to help educate them based on what I know and what I think isogenics can help them with. So I just passionately share that information with them. And then they're either going to be open to absorbing that information and going and checking it out and changing the way they think if they're open. And if they're closed, Oh, well. They're
That's
stuck.
a,
It's not my
I didn't,
responsibility.
and I wanted to know more for me, not
Yep.
because I had a debate with her or anything, but I just wanted to know more for me. She's just has a lot of challenges. But anyway, it's cool. Someday maybe.
You just forge ahead and get results, and then she'll come along later if she wants. That's
Yeah,
all. You
yeah. Well, she's very curious, but she can't use it. She can't use. She's oxalate problems. She has the egg allergy, and because I still have it, I know what that's like.
Yeah.
And the way she tried Isopro, I don't know. She just has a lot of problems right now. But anyway,
Well, she could do the light program with the dairy-free shake and see how that goes.
yeah. And again, it's the ingredients. But anyway, it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, good. Maybe she's just going to be using the complete essentials and the omegas.
Maybe that's what I was thinking. Maybe she could do that. Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well,
Good
thank you
question,
so
though.
much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, where's that flow chart? Is that in just the regular notes on the net fuel class?
It's in I have it in the book that I wrote, but it's also in the files section of the net fuel. The photos section of the net fuel.
Oh, the photo. Okay.
Yeah, go into the photos, and you'll have to scroll down a bit. And if you want, just put a post up in Net Fuel MasterClass reminding me after this call because I'll forget. And just say you post the flow chart here, and I'll just post it.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Well, I won't take more of your time. Thank you.
Okay. Rachel, any questions?
I can probably talk about this later, but it just maybe something you may have not touched on. But how is it with the ketos with women who are hormonal?
Yeah.
Do the fats actually help with that, or?
I don't know this. I don't know the specifics, but you know what? The lady that enrolled me in Isogenics, Camille, is actually a hormone expert.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's done great calls actually over on Pro Edge. I can probably get her into Net Fuel and do a live video one day over the next little while, and she can talk about the benefits of keto and Net Fuel, healthy keto, in terms of health.
A lot of the women that I are kind of my same age, and that seems to be the going thing, they start the ketos and start things, and I think they just feel that they're going through this whole change of life, and it's just like, does this help? What more can one do? What foods can you eat to help out? And I know through the Isogenics program that has helped out a lot of people.
Yeah.
So
I was going to leave myself a note right here. Actually, I was going to ask you to send me a message, but I'm like, why would I do that? I'm just going to leave myself a note, Camille, Net Fuel, hormones.
And it's no big rush, but I think that with a lot of middle-aged women,
Good question.
Great thing to touch on.
I don't know anything about it. So,
You're lucky. You just have to deal with us.
I got people that do that.
You will know about it.
I experience it. I just don't want to know about it.
I
experience it indirectly. Let me be clear.
Right. Camille is great. I think I was in one of her classes back when I was in Minnesota. Wow. I've been here 7 years, so it must have been like maybe 12 years ago.
When I first started in Isogenics, Camille and her partner at the time, Alan, and my wife at the time, Beth, we went to John Gray's ranch in Mendocino County, California for a health and wellness retreat for like 3 or 4 days or something. That was like a great environment there, and listen to John Gray talk about health and wellness all day, and it was a great event. It was really good. Then we went to the wine country afterwards, so it was fun. So, anyways, I'll get Camille to do a live video and talk about hormones and how this program impacts positively hormones for people. So
that would be awesome. Thank you.
Jody, any questions?
I was just going to ask, this is athlete related, and then I've got a non-athlete related question. But so people ask me, what do I do for carb loading? And I haven't been doing anything. And is that correct? I don't need to carb load, right? Like it's this old way of thinking that I'm like, I don't do any of that anymore.
I'll give you the wording that you can answer that question with. Okay. So you're a woman, and you can only hold about 2,000 calories worth of glycogen in your system, in your muscles and liver. I'm a guy, I got more muscles, so I'm going to probably hold 2,500 calories, right? What most people think about as carb loading is overloading. I'm trying to pack as many carbohydrates into my system as possible because they're thinking it's like a stomach. I'm going to eat as much as I can so that those carbs are sitting in there and ready to be used as fuel. That's not the way it works. You can only put so many carbohydrates into your system. So when you're going through net fuel initially, you're going to be probably low on glycogen, and that's why you feel so crappy. We want to do that in order to get the ketone production up. But afterwards, when you get into more athletic competition, you want your glycogen levels topped up in your muscles. You just want to make them really complex carbs and keep that insulin response really low so that glycogen isn't going to get your body into creating a higher insulin response so that you're in a fat storing mode. We want to be fat adapted in a fat burning mode, but you're always going to be packing in carbs. So when you do a really intense long workout and you burn through a lot of glycogen, you want to add carbs in over those days so that you're going into the race topped up. I would typically, if I'm going to coach an Ironman triathlete, for example, I'm going to have them do a double cleansing day, a Sunday and Monday, for example, before the next weekend where they're going to do an Ironman. And then that allows them Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe even Saturday to replenish those muscle glycogen levels by just eating food, right? You can only store so much glycogen from any one particular meal, but over the course of 3 or 4 days, you're going to have no trouble getting that 2,000 calories back packed into your liver and muscles. And so it's kind of like, I think about it more as glycogen replenishment rather than carbo loading. So you're always replenishing glycogen because you're always eating carbs, right? You're just not overloading those carbs. And then, because what happens you're not always overloading those carbs and then storing the excess as fat. What happens to most people is they eat way too many carbs and the excess gets stored as fat. And that's why a lot of triathletes, you were one of them not long ago, right? You're doing all this exercise and you're like, I can't get rid of this excess body fat because you're always in a fat storing state rather than a fat burning state. Now you're in a fat burning state. That's why you're so lean. That's why your performances have improved. That's why your energy is so much more consistent. And all these other triathlete friends that you know, they're always in a fat storing state and they're always looking for carbs and sugar as a fuel source because they can't access that fat for fuel. And when they get into a race, it's a big issue because they've got to constantly pack carbs into their system and then their stomach overloads and they can't process it and then they're screwed. So yeah. I think you've got a little one there, so I'm sorry I said screwed.
Yeah, you want my attention, but one more question. Do I have to continue the intermittent fasting every day? Like, because I want to have a regular coffee sometimes. I don't want to have just a bulletproof coffee.
That's a great question. So this is your non-athlete question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will, here's the way I explain it. When somebody's really coming in and they really want to maximize the benefits, then do all things perfectly, right? Fat coffee in the morning, don't eat until 11, then eat in that 8-hour window, and then stop eating again for another 16 hours. Once you've gotten there, like you're there, right? Start to drift from that because we want to make it more of a lifestyle, right? So if I go to the gym in the morning, I almost always go to the gym between 8 and 9, and I'm going to have a shake afterwards when I finish at about 9:15 when I get home. I'm going to have a shake. I'm not waiting until 11 o'clock because I'm not concerned about doing an intermittent fast. But there's going to be other days, if I don't go to the gym, I'm like, I don't feel like eating. It might be 1 o'clock in the afternoon before I have a shake because I'm not that concerned. It can shift around. It doesn't have to be exact.
Okay.
In the initial period when you're trying to get results, it's much mental, right? Just stay on track with the program, follow the process, right? It's the best way to get results. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't need to follow a schedule and you're still going to be successful, cool. Then shift it around, but do what's going to work. And if it's not working, then stop doing it. But for you, where you're at now, how long you've been doing it, you can almost do whatever you want, right? As long as you're kind of staying on track and you'll be good.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Rachel, any other questions?
Nope, I'm good.
Cool. Bethania, I see you're on the call somewhere, but do you have any questions?
No, but I will be sending you a private message.
Cool.
I do have, thanks.
Okay, no problem. Okay, guys, have a great night. Sorry for going on a little long tonight, but I always get excited about this call, and I wanted to go over all this stuff with you and not sort of rush through it. So have a great night, and if you have any questions that pop into your head tonight when you're falling asleep and you can't sleep, just write them down and message me, and we'll go over it. So
Thank you.
cool, guys. Bye. Have a great night. Bye. Cheers.
Good night.